From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. We made it. It's Friday. It's June the 23rd, 2017. President Trump right now doing something very important for the VA. He's going to sign the Accountability Act, and here is President Donald Trump.
Of what we suffered so recently never, ever happens again, and that our veterans can get the care they so richly deserve. So you just heard from Sergeant Michael Ferraro. Great. I didn't get to shake your hand, Michael. Huh? Get up, Michael. He gets up better than I do. Thank you, Michael. Michael lost 2 limbs in defending our country, and yet he had to wait 57 days to get his prosthetic leg repaired. It's a long time, Michael. And over 3.5 years for modifications to make his house more accessible. What happened to Michael is happening to many, but it's rarely happening under our leadership and David's leadership anymore. That I can tell you. Our wounded warriors have given everything they have to this nation, and we owe them everything we have in return, and we're taking care of it. Today, we are taking a very historic action to transform the VA by enacting the VA Accountability and Whistleblower Protection Act. This was not easy. This was not an easy one. And it's one that they've wanted to do, Michael, you know, for a long time, for many years. Couldn't get it done. We got it done. This is one of the largest reforms to the VA in its history. It's a reform that I campaigned on, and now I am thrilled to be able to sign that promise into law. VA accountability is essential to making sure that our veterans are treated with the respect they have so richly earned through their blood, sweat, and tears. This law will finally give the VA secretary, who is, by the way, just doing some job, and he's doing it with this and with the heart. Believe me. It gives the Secretary the authority to remove federal employees who fail and endanger our veterans, and to do so quickly and effectively. It's been a long time since you've heard those words. Those entrusted with the sacred duty of serving our veterans will be held accountable for the care they provide. It's a big statement. At the same time, this bill protects whistleblowers who do the right thing. We want to reward, cherish, and promote the many dedicated employees at the VA. This legislation also gives the VA Secretary the authority to appoint new medical directors at VA hospitals, something which was almost impossible to do in the past. And these are going to be talented people. I applaud Chairman Phil Rowe and the members of Congress here with us today, which we have many, who fought so hard for this legislation. And I want them up here when I sign. And I just want to thank the members of Congress. They have been really dedicated to getting this done. It was not easy for them either. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a big deal, folks. I wanted to bring it to you live as he signs this new piece of legislation, but, man, this is monumental. If you're a veteran and you've been getting the shaft, there's been so many veterans that have literally died because they haven't been able to get the care that they deserve. And you would think that they would be entitled to preferred care, getting the access that they really deserve. No. Deplorable conditions, treating them like, third-class citizens, just ridiculous. They gave everything. And all they're just asking is an appointment to be able to see a doctor, to see if their blood pressure is okay, to see if their cancer is spread, to see if they can fight the cancer. All sorts of things. And they haven't been able to get in. This is all over the country. And finally, something good is being done today. And of course, the mainstream media is not gonna use this. This will not be the prevailing narrative. They won't do this. And they would never dedicate the time, the airtime, as we will, and maybe some other conservative broadcast out there. But this is a big deal. This is a victory. Victory for all of us as Americans, but for those especially that have given all and rely so heavily on the VA for their services, to get in there, to be able to see a doctor, to get an operation, to be able to be scheduled on a timely basis, and not have their paperwork lost or shifted or scheduled 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road where it's way too late. And that's been happening tragically to thousands of veterans all over the country. So I'm very happy about this. And now whistleblowers are able to be protected and not lose their jobs. And that's been the case when they have found out. And this definitely protects them. And again, President Trump to sign the VA Accountability Act any moment right now in Washington, D.C. This is MSNBC for you at its finest. Any way that they can get ratings, any way that they can go ahead and promote people like Elise Jordan. She's a former Bush White House aide, and now she's gone liberal, off the reservation completely, kind of like, who's that girl from Fox? Megyn Kelly. Yeah. She's a political analyst, Elsie Jordan. She's a contributor for Time, and she appeared on MSNBC Live with Craig Melvin on Thursday afternoon, and this is what she had to say. Unbelievable. But listen very, very carefully.
He wasted the country's collective time speculating over whether these tapes existed or not. It's a sad day when you cannot depend on the president's word. And my advice would just be to Republicans who do cozy up to him. It's just like hugging a suicide bomber. He blows you up in the process with him.
Wow, just like a suicide bomber. There was a good reason. I didn't understand what the reason was, but it just makes increasingly great sense. All this Donald Trump wanted from James Comey from the very beginning is just honesty. He just wanted him to tell the truth. That's it. Maybe there's tapes. Maybe there's not tapes. I think it's terrific. I think it's a great bargaining tool. I think it's wonderful. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. Maybe Donald Trump actually, when he said he didn't know if the conversations were being taped. Some are, some aren't. But I thought it was very clever because James Comey did not know, did he? And it had been interesting because of the very fact that he led off Hillary Clinton, his investigation that he started, who knows how, why, who, and strong-armed him and told him to stop and, we know that she's guilty as sin, but we're not going to throw Hillary Clinton. No, we can't throw her away. No, she's a national treasure. But this is MSNBC for you, folks. There's a strategy for Donald Trump. As much as it pains people, there's a strategy always, and he's usually way ahead of so many different people. That's how he won. That's how he was able to succeed. In some respects, and I've said this before, Donald Trump is a beautiful disaster. But it's a disaster that we need. It's a disaster that we can afford. It's a disaster that this country, without Donald Trump, if Hillary Rotten Clinton got in, do you think that these things that are being done, the Veterans Accountability Act and all the tons of other things that Donald Trump has done right now for the economy, for immigration, tax, trying to get the tax thing taken care of, for Medicare, Medicaid, and that's a whole can of worms there. But all the, security issues, deals with corporations to stop shipping overseas, employing more Americans, all these wonderful things that Donald Trump has done, they can't give him any credit, and they're not going to do it. Folks, what I say, and I suggest on a daily basis here, is that we need to climb back from lunacy to normacy. Lunacy is MSNBC. Lunacy is MSNBC. Again, these commentators, the garbage that they spew out each and every day, and there's people that absorb it. They're like a big sponge. They soak it in, and then they spit it out on everybody else around them. Donald Trump on Twitter, with all the recently reported electronic surveillance intercepts, unmasking, and illegal leaking of information, I have no idea, talking about the tapes, whether there are tapes or recordings of my conversations with James Comey, but I did not make and do not have any such recordings. Maybe he alluded, maybe there's tapes, maybe there's not tapes. Who knows? I think it's funny. I think it's brilliant. It's strategy. And he had it, and we got out of Comey exactly what Comey needed to say, truthfully, is what happened in the White House, and that was simply that Donald Trump did not strong-arm him and, tell him that if I don't have, your allegiance, I don't have your loyalty, and if you shut down this investigation and I demand you, I tell you to do it or I'm going to fire you or something crazy like that. He didn't say anything of the sort. And that's pretty much over. And now it's more garbage like Johnny Depp right now, sounding off. And this is circulating all over the internet right now. The Chocolate star was introducing a screening of 2004's Libertine. I don't even know what the movie is. I didn't see it. But he was at an arts festival over in England, and he decided to make a very shocking comment. He seemed to be making a more or less bizarre reference to when actor John Wilkes Booth assassinated President Abraham Lincoln back in 1865. And he was met with mixed of cheers and jeers from the crowd. It was kind of mixed. But Depp asked about the last time an actor assassinated a president. And he went on to say, now I want to clarify. And he did. He says, I am not an actor. I lie for a living. However, what does that mean? However, it has been a while and maybe it is time. This is liberals, folks, demanding violence. This is lunacy, folks, at its greatest. This provokes the loose cannons. This provokes the loose cannon in Washington, D.C. for that baseball game. These people that feel like their whole world's coming undone. Their whole world is coming to an end because you get Nancy Pelosi. We get Elizabeth Warren. That's the new one. But the same rhetoric being spewed out. You're all going to die. And the Republicans are giving you the big shaft and all this other stuff. They have no other plan. Obamacare is imploding all over the place. And this is the best they have.
So Senate Republicans had to make a choice. How to pay for all those juicy tax cuts for their rich buddies. I'll tell you how. Blood money. People will die. Let's be very clear. Senate Republicans are paying for tax cuts for the wealthy with American lives.
People are going to die. Elizabeth Warren. Dear God. Folks, this is the garbage that's